Okay, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started so we can get you out of here sooner than later. We are doing BrightBytes. This will be the second time that we've done it. We did it last spring, was our first initial trial. We've learned for a few things from that first go around, and we've got some pretty exciting news. I think it's good news that we have gotten permission from the state to do this in replacement of Star Chart, which means you're not keeping track of a bunch of usernames and passwords and going and asking teachers to do their thing. And then, so all of that process is set aside for now. We are going to be meeting with the state in February, right after our first window, to discuss all of the ins and outs of using BrightBytes as a reporting tool instead of Star Chart. The other thing is, with HB5, we had to come up with criteria. There was a committee that had to come up with criteria that we would measure ourselves on in certain areas. Digital learning environment is one of them. 21st century learning is one of them. And they have chosen, that committee has chosen to use some of the BrightByte data as what we're going to use to measure ourselves when we report on HB5. Because of those two things, we're going to try to aim a little higher than we did last spring. Last spring, all I wanted you to do was hit your stat sig number, which is your data significance number, which was a very small portion of your student population. This year, we're going to try to go as close to 100% as we can get, because when we go to the state in February and say, hey, we want to do this instead of Star Chart, and they're like, or you only surveyed 40% of your population, or whatever it is that your number ends up being, we don't want that to be a reason why they say, no, you're not, you got to go back and do Star Chart. Okay, so we're going to kind of make sure, plus it makes sure your number's better. For instance, if you were on an elementary campus last year, you might have really targeted your fourth grade because they all had iPads and you could do it really easily. So your data might not represent what was going on in your third and fifth grade with those students necessarily. So what's happened is some people's data is a little bit skewed than what they thought it was going to be. So for those two reasons, we're going to try to make sure we have a plan in place so that when we have to start our window on the 20th, we know exactly how we're going to reach our teachers and exactly how we're going to reach our students and how we're going to hit that high What target. I'd like to do first is just kind of run you through the platform. Some of you may have already kind of started digging into your data, especially if you're a principal on a campus. You're not going to have, ninth grade campuses aren't going to have any data yet, obviously, because you didn't exist last year. But this will be a good way to kind of answer some of the whys when your staff members come to you and say, why are we doing another survey? And you can say, well, this is going to tell us things like ABC. You know, we're going to be able to use this information to help target some areas and that kind of thing. So it's good to have a good understanding kind of what this tool is going to do for us. And then we'll talk about how to distribute it and how to make a plan so that you can get all those responses. If you click on your data at the very top, right here, you are going to see this is your data from last year, okay? They basically break all the questions down into 4 areas. Spells the word case. The C stands for classroom. So this is, I ask my students to collaborate online. How often do you use assistive technology? Things like that. So these are answered by teachers and students, the 4 C's in the digital citizenship, and then there's some additional components that are not necessarily asked by both groups. The access is going to be, do you have internet or wireless access at home? Which is really interesting information. Do you have a shared device? Do you have a personal device? And they ask a lot of those questions for teachers and students as well. Foundational, can you send an email? Basic foundational skills. Can you edit a picture? Can you create a video? Things like that. Environment, those are all about our policies and practices, as well as, do your teachers feel like they're getting support in a timely manner when they have a technical issue? So that would be in this area. And professional learning. One of the most interesting things is you can see what are the top areas that my teachers are asking for professional learning in. A lot of times we're surprised by that because we hear the couple of very loud vocal people on our campus who want foundational skills and want basics. But then when we look at the mass majority on here, we see that that's not what they're asking for. They want the more higher level. They want multimedia. They want collaboration and things like that. So every piece of data or every question on the survey is correlated to one of these areas. Okay? So I'm just going to show you really quick what the data would look like after your window is closed. So if I click in the classroom, I have some categories to choose from. So teacher use of the 4 C's is how often do I, as a teacher, expect my students to do something? So if I click on here, we have the 4 C's. So if I look at collaboration, for instance, oh, it's not in real time. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with this thing that worked perfect this morning. Maybe I should try one of the Apple TVs. Oh, here we go. Annette, would you turn on one of the Apple TVs as a backup, and if I need to serve there, I will, because it's still behind.
So all you do is click on classroom and
Yep.
it brought that up?
Yep, so if you click on classroom, it's going to pull up these areas. If you click on any of these, it's going to take you into the actual data for that area. Okay? Let's see if it wants to go to tools. Yeah, because this is not going to be doable all. There's a remote that was in that chair over there. It was over there somewhere. Is this one not on? Oh, let's try this. Annette, try this. Yeah, but it showed up on my AirPlay. I apologize, guys, for the... Let's try beta. Let's see if this works.
Little Apple TV.
They're on the list.
And the pink spots at the top.
Okay, well, at least I've jumped to a piece of data. No, it's telling me I can't connect. Okay, so here would be... They just made this projector wireless. I don't know if it's a device issue or we're all trying to... Okay. So here's the path that I went to, if you guys are looking for that path. So I went to the classroom block.
Our number, like I have 1075
Yes.
on mine, you had 1096.
Okay. What I'm showing you is the district number.
Okay,
You're
so that's-
showing your campus number. I should have explained that. Yes. So,
So
you're looking.
1075 is my campus number?
Yes.
Okay, it's
What
not,
I show up here is the whole district as what we are as a group.
Okay.
The way that we have it broken down is you see your campus information, your zone leaders can see their whole zone,
Okay.
and then Barbara Brown, Jerem Frozy, they see the entire district. The design coaches have also been through a training on this where we have given them access to the campuses that they serve, and they have written up a little dossier on your campus that says what are your strengths, what are some areas you might want to improve on, what are some conversations I can have with the the administration and the people on that campus to kind of support whatever they're doing and whatever their needs were. So this would be one example. So this is teachers ask students to collaborate online with classmates. As a district, we're at 17%. Yours may be different, okay? Now, when I looked at this the first time, I was like, 45 is like never. Like I thought that was a really big, scary thing that we had that many, like that was such a big bar. But what's nice about BrightBytes, if I can get it to cooperate, it's probably not going to do anything. You should have a compare. It should say compare right underneath your chart. Like if you're where I am, so you've clicked on, and that there needs some help because we have people on all kinds of screens.
Well, it's because we don't have any of that. Like mine
Oh, you guys
has
don't.
data
Yeah,
up in
Marcus,
the
you guys
spreadsheet.
won't have any data because your campus is new. So you're just going to have to look on. And,
Probably somebody else. Okay.
so for this part, you're not going to have any data from your new campus.
Okay.
So underneath the chart, the bar graph, you should see the word compare. If you click the plus sign, it's going to let you compare to several different things. If the question was asked to students and teachers, you'll be able to compare student responses to teacher responses on the same chart. Okay, not every question can you compare to students because students didn't answer all the same questions that teachers did. You can also compare with Texas as a whole. BrightBytes is really big in Texas right now. We have a lot of districts that are moved to this. So you can see, even though I can tell you right now, if you compare us to Texas, these bars are still bigger than theirs. So when you put it in perspective of, okay, well, how do we compare to the state? We're doing better than the state, even though our numbers to us may make us feel like we're not doing a whole lot. You can also compare to prior data. I don't know what the lag is.
It was Air TV. Apple TV. I switched you over just to normal.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, golden.
Okay.
So if I click on compare, I get the student choice. I also get compare with the past. So after January, everybody but on my 9 campuses will have 2 data points for everything. You will have last spring and you'll have this January. So you'll be able to put side by side for that question, what was our results for the spring and what were our results for the winter. So you'll be able to see if you're making movement, if you're getting better, if you're doing if those results are what you think they should be, that kind of thing. And then again, like I said, if you compare it to state, I thought our bars were teeny tiny and oh my gosh, I should be worried. But we're at 17 and the state's at 9. So it's good for perspective too, I think. So another thing, sometimes teachers and students have different perceptions of what's going on. Okay, so if you look at this question, teachers say they're asking students to collaborate online 17% at least weekly. Students think they're doing it a heck of a lot more than that. Now, again, if you used your 4th grade and they all had iPads, or you used your 7th grade and they all had iPads, that may be the discrepancy. Because these teachers are everybody who teaches, not just the 1 to X grade levels. So that may be where you have some of this discrepancy. They may have been asked to do it more because this is just that population. So this year it should be a little more accurate because we have 1 more grade level at least that's going to have access to the iPad. And we're going to be trying to get that 100%.
How did you get the student collaborator or student number?
Are you on the chart? So, right here, this one. Click compare and you can put students. Any question that was asked by teachers and students, you'll have the compare option for students. So the way we look at this data is it's not black and white, okay? This is not carved in stone, perfect data. What it is, it's a good gauge and it's a good starting point for discussions with your staff, okay? So it's a good place to kind of take a measurement of where you're at and then see if you're growing or not growing. And it's a good way to have a conversation about things. So I'm going to click back on my data. So I'm back at my 4 CASEs. Under Access, we're just going to click on Access. And I'm going to see what students say about some things at home. So one of the questions is students' access to wireless or internet. So as a district, we have 94% of those students who took the survey say they do have access to wireless or internet. Again, depending on who you surveyed, because we had a small portion. So this is the district, so you can see kind of how you compare with the district. As far as the small numbers that you had to get surveyed last year to hit your stat sig, there is a very long explanation by MIT who came up with the formula. It's not just a straight percentage algorithm. They had to have so many of each responses before they said that your number was good. So it was a little bit of a moving target. It's not just one flat thing. So last year it was kind of more, because we only went with the stat sig, the data may not be as good. Well, this year when we do it and we get so much more participation, those are going to be more reliable numbers. So back up to data again, and I'm going to go, hopefully, to skills. Actually, we're going to skip skills. We're going to go to environment. Because if you're an administrator or you work with your administrator, especially on things like professional development or professional learning on campus, if I click professional learning, I have a couple of options. Let's see what the interests of your campus are. So you have one that's called Teacher Interest in Educational Technology PD Topics. So I went to data. I went to environment, I went to professional learning, and then I chose the question about educational technology PD topics. So at the district level, you can see what the topics are overall if we all voted at once. The foundational skills piece is not in the top 3. What's in the top 3? Classroom management, multimedia, collaboration. If we scroll down, we get the breakdown of everything, and at the very bottom was foundational skills. So again, it's a piece that you can use as you're trying to make some changes or plan for your campus. One other thing I wanted to point out real quick, which is kind of nice, you have little scissors next to every chart. It makes a screenshot of it and saves it for you. So you can put it in an email, you can put it in a presentation on a slide, you can, whatever you want to do with that piece, that chart. You don't have to worry about holding Control 4 and dragging and all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to go back to my data screen. Other things that are important, the most important thing I didn't even show you, I apologize. Over here, you see the little rainbow bar? This is the scoring. So it's color-coded. Proficient is where we're at because we have a big old yellow-orange bar right here. That's proficient. Advanced is green, exemplary is blue. So you want to see colors that are these. This is where you might be wanting to do something on your campus. You might have a little concern about that if you have pink or gray. There's one other thing that BrightBytes does really well. Next to dashboard, you'll see the word reports. I'm not exactly sure how it all works, but when you close your window, within 24 hours, all your data is there in chart form, ready for you to see. And so are these reports. So there's reports on several different topics, and what they do is they take research that they've collected and they give you the whole why is this important piece, and then they give you suggestions and kind of where your status is. So if you look at, I'm just going to pull up the 21st Century Learning Report, and this is a PDF that can be downloaded, so that means it can be emailed to anybody who needs to see this one, shared out, printed, whatever it is that you want to do with it. I'm going to go to the second page of my report. I know we're going through this fast because you guys don't have to, we'll have in-depth training about the data after our window. I just want you to understand what this tool will do. On the second page, this is kind of the whys. Why am I doing this? Why do we care about 21st century skills? And look what's on the bottom of that report. This is your campus data in an infographic ready to go. So how did I get there? I clicked on reports, and then I clicked on the report that was 21st century learning, and I just went to page 2. And at the very bottom, I got a cool looking infographic that has, again, maybe a way to start conversations on your campus about certain things that you want to talk about. Any questions so far? I know we're moving quick. Again, we're just giving you this so that you understand what kind of information you're going to have in case people start asking you questions.
When did we administer this test last year? Do you remember?
It was
Was it in the spring?
April. Yes, it was in the spring.
Okay.
April, I believe.
And then we did all 34 people?
Not necessarily. You had a number you had to reach. Some people targeted a specific grade level because they had devices. Some people said everybody who has PE needs to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Things like that. So
I think I remember that now.
it may be one campus did it one way and you may have done it a different way. The last thing I want to show you as far as the data goes, again, I'm going to go back to my data. I'm just going to click on the word data up there at the top, hopefully, and it'll go. After this next window, you have this little clock icon. This is going to show your overall score in a line graph as every time we do a window. So it's going to show you your change over time. And right now it's a flat line because we've only done it once. So right now we're a flat line. But after this next window, you'll have 2 data points. So you'll be able to see if you're making progress overall. To see specific items, you're going to want to pull up that graph and go compare with the past. And then that'll show you where you are on a specific item. This is just showing your overall K-score, whether it goes up or down. Okay?
And it should be the flat line?
Well, right now it should be because we've only done it once. So you don't have 2 points of data. So it doesn't matter. See if you look, okay. It'll show you along the graph. But right now, the only point of data we have was our first set of surveys. Okay, so that's pretty much what BrightBytes looks like and what it'll do for your campus. You know we're using it for HB5. You know we're going to use it for Star Chart. So we've already talked about the importance of getting close to 100% participation as possible. So what I like to do now is just have a brief conversation about strategies to get that to happen. This is the 3rd session that Annette and I have done, and we've had some really good ideas about how to make this as painless and easy as possible, and we keep adding new ideas every session. So let's start with the teacher survey. Was anybody in charge of their survey last year of distribution? How did you get your teacher surveys done? What was your preferred method?
I just put it in the weekend letter that Pam sends out,
Okay,
and everybody is required to read that letter, so
Okay.
they all do it.
so she put it in required communication, something that teachers were required to read. Another idea that BrightBytes has suggested, and we think it's a pretty good one, last 10 minutes of a staff meeting, make it the exit ticket. And then you have kind of a confined audience. Because there's no sign-in and there's no username means it's anonymous. You can't go bug the 3 teachers you know didn't do it. Another option, and this will help with students too. Oh, I'm on Annette's computer, I don't have it. That's okay. At the last screen of the survey, it says thank you in rainbow bubbles, pretty much. They can take a screenshot of that and email it to you. And you can just check their names off as you get their email, if you wanted to do it that way. Because you won't have that, oh, I need to hold this person or this person specifically accountable because you won't know who it is. Is there a possibility someone could take it twice? There's a possibility, but most people are going to realize it looks unique enough that they're going to be like, wait a minute, I already did this, and that's fine. All you are doing to distribute is sending out a URL. You're just sending out a link. Okay, so you could do a QR code. You could post it in an email, post it on a web page. Again, somebody in the last session suggested, well, maybe you raffle off a Gene Pass or something to like the first however many get it done. Or maybe you could do class competitions, you know, whoever gets 100% participation in a class or something, if you felt you needed incentive. What about students? Did you do students last year? And how did you do students?
We ran it through our elective classes because of the timing that it came through.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the only one that weren't doing testing, so we ran it through electives.
Okay, so they used electives. I heard a lot of classes use like their computer literacy or their PE class at the elementary level was one that we heard about. Posting it, if you have teachers that use Edmodo, they can make it an assignment and then kids can screenshot that last screen and submit it like it's their assignment, and that way the teacher can mark off who did it. You know, we had one campus that just said, everybody takes English, everybody has an ELA class, we're just going to have ELA do it. You have a 2-week window, so they can do it on the day that works easiest for their planning, and just walk up and down the row and just tell the kids, when you're done, leave your thank you screen up, and just walk up and down and make sure you see a thank you screen, and then you're done. It's about a 10-minute survey.
For both teachers and students?
Teachers and students, each survey takes about 10 minutes. Elementary. If you want a hard copy of the questions for your teachers to read aloud, and so your class can do it kind of all at once, I have a PDF of those questions. All you have to do is send me an email and say, hey, can you send me that questionnaire? And I'll pop it right to you. And then you can have, we had a couple teachers last year that read it aloud. Annette, do you have any other ideas that we had earlier that we haven't mentioned?
There's all the ones that we've heard.
People have talked about, you know, rewards, whether it be a Gene Pass or something like that. If you felt that you needed to go that way. We had a campus last year who got all teachers and students done within the first day. So it is doable. Oh, one concern. If I have all my classes do it during homeroom, you will probably not have much success on your wireless connection. So maybe one thing you think about is, can you make up a schedule or put a schedule up and say, hey, teachers, you're free to sign up whichever day you want to run your survey, but let's not have more than 3 people sign up for that one specific day. And maybe add some choice and some flexibility, but still enough to where it's broken down and you don't kill your wireless connection. We do the parent survey. Some suggestions have been put it in a newsletter, especially at the elementary level. If you send letters home, just make a QR code of it and put it in there. You can use, it's really short already, so even a bit.ly really wouldn't do you much good because it's already pretty short. QR codes hanging by where student pickup is, if parents want to take the survey while they're waiting to pick up their student. This works on all platforms, all devices. Smartphones, PCs, Macs, iPads, Chromebooks, whatever you got, it'll work on.
Can you send a link through Facebook for high school for parents to link to the survey and go through there? Like, I have a lot
Yes.
of parents
Yes.
on Facebook.
And that was another thing. You can also, if you have like a database that has all your parent emails on it that you use for anything, you could send a person, they have a wizard that lets you send it out in email form, but you could post it that way.
The call out sends to email and to phone. You can do it that way too.
Yep.
Right?
Call out works probably good for parents. We had a campus that tried call out last year to get their students to do it at home, and they had not as great success as we had when we just kept it on campus in the building. I think it was a middle school, so you know, for parents though, that's a great way to communicate with parents. I'm going to show you the process of what you would do. So Marcus, or the 9th grade campuses, you guys can follow along with this. You should be ready to do this too. There are 5 steps you're going to do. You're going to start your survey window. You're going to open your survey. You're going to distribute the survey, which is your links. You will close the survey and finish the window. This isn't a handout. You guys do not have to write this down if you don't want, because I did give you this in a handout, and it's in the live binder that's on your sheet. So you do not have to write those down if you don't want. Once you hit finish, that's when they will process all your data, and within 24 hours you will have your data to use that quick. I'm going to kind of walk you through the process of how you're going to do it. So when you sign in, if you are the survey admin, there are two types of accounts you can have. If you are the campus survey administrator, you are the one who can send out surveys. You are the one who gets daily emails about your progress. If you are a viewer or just a regular user, you can see all the data, but you can't send the survey out. The reason that it's set up that way is if you chose someone other than your principal, we didn't want to download a principal's email with daily updates if all they're interested in is seeing the data when it's done. That reminds me, somebody last year said that they would take those little emails and they would forward it on to the staff and say, oh, we only need this many more, we only need this many more, kind of as like status updates to their colleagues to say how close they were getting. So that's just one more way that you might spur on if you're lagging in getting it done.
So what were there's the campus administrator, and what was the other one?
I believe it just says user. And the user can see all the data, but they cannot distribute the surveys. As the campus administrator, you have all the power. So you can.
How do you know if you're the administrator?
Because when we click the drop-down arrow, you should have something that says manage data. So on your avatar, if you click, you should see manage data. If you don't see that, let me know because I can change your status because I have power too now. That's how you all got power. I gave it to you. I know you're so thankful. So if you have your drop-down menu and you click on manage data, what you're going to see are your campus surveys. And again, I have to take a couple extra steps because I have the whole district here. So let's click over here. Okay, so you should see something that looks like this. You have a teacher survey, teacher and administrator, a student survey, and it'll say elementary or upper depending, and then a parent survey. That's what you should see. Now probably all say, do they say closed? Do they say open? Do you not have any of the surveys?
Information for your participating
Okay,
school.
I had them add you so I could get you guys in, but I haven't sent them your numbers, and
No problem.
that's why you're not seeing
Oh,
anything.
okay, so you're going to send
Okay,
it.
Yes.
I'm
We
not
don't
seeing
have to send it.
anything
What campus are you?
here. Creekside.
Creekside should be in there. Are you an admin? Did you have a managed data option? Okay.
I'm wrong school.
Hmm.
I'm wrong school. Y'all have me at Hedrick Middle and I'm Hedrick Elementary.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. I'm just gonna mess with your data.
That's even more fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that.
And you're. I'm sorry. I'm still learning names, Mr.
Jeff Carver.
Jeff Carver. And you should be at
Hedrick Elementary.
elementary.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's something I need to have them change. They don't let me change, but it'll take like a day.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to talk about what you're seeing before I show you how to actually do it, okay? Because there's some weird stuff on here. When you distribute your surveys, you're going to have, you have access to this. Anytime you hit manage data, you're going to see this throughout your whole survey window. So here's my status bar. That's going to show you how far along you are in reaching 100%. So this status bar is 0 to 100. Now, then why do they have a 91 up here? That's your stat sig. As your bar grows, once you hit the 91, according to BrightBytes, you're good. They have enough responses, they can validate your data. Last year, we were okay with that because you're just trying to get it done to see what would happen. Not good enough this year because we want to replace Star Chart forever and ever and ever. So here, I have a number that's my total. Okay? So this is your stat sig. That's what we used to care about. Well, we care about it in that you have to at least get that many. This is the number we want you to get as close to as possible. Okay? And this bar will keep growing, and it'll count for you. Okay? So right now, this would say like 91 out of 62 if this was a current running survey. So it keeps tallying for you. So that's how you'll know how close you are to your 100. As far as what data we're using, I have enrollment numbers from December. That's what I will be giving BrightBytes. We have competitive principals. I didn't realize that. But apparently, we had a conversation today about what is a teacher / administrator, because they're the ones that take your survey. Most of the questions from the teacher point of view are, in your classroom, you, whatever. Okay? So we're talking about teachers who either plan lessons or facilitate learning. So it could be special education teachers who are supplementing and doing some assistive things, general education teachers, specials teachers, all good. Paras that don't plan, that don't modify, anything like that, they're just there as that child support, we don't need them. Administration, your survey's about 5 minutes long because it takes out all the classroom questions, so it's super short. Other questions about what numbers mean what and what you're trying to hit? Does that make sense? Where we're trying to go? All right. So now I'm going to show you how to distribute. And you get to do the first 2 steps today. So out of the 5 steps, you'll already have 2 done. So this is super easy. Okay. So if you went to manage data and you got to this screen, okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start your survey window. So if you look over here, I have a little cheat sheet going. Under your options, mine's grayed out because I've done this like 5 times already. Under your options, you should have a start option. And you can click on it now and start your surveys. That doesn't matter. That's just opening the window. I see the little more option right here. Click on that and hit open. You're opening your survey.
Distribute?
Nope, we're not there yet. Yours are already opened, I think.
Oh, okay.
Did she not have an open-ish option?
I don't have one there.
If it's a
But it's
clear
in mine,
button,
it's
just
all
help.
school.
3 where it says ... right here next to the survey. We're opening the survey. If all you get is distribute, that means they're already open. So now, here's what I need to tell you as I know today. What I know today, this is true. Doesn't mean it'll be true when I email you next time. Yours say open, but I cannot guarantee that's not from the spring. When I send them our numbers, I'm sending them our updated numbers in January, right when we come back, and they will upload our new numbers. So you may have to, in January, go option start open, okay? You may have to do that. And I'll remind you guys of that possibility.
So if the parent one's already open, could that possibly be from?
Yes, that would be from the spring. Yep, you don't have to worry about that. All right, so now you've done 2 of the 5 steps. Now you're done. You can sit back and relax, and I'm going to show you what happens when you distribute. Okay, so some of you already figured out when you clicked on your More button, you had a distribute option. So if I want to distribute teacher surveys, I'm going to click that More button on the teacher administrator survey, and I'm going to click distribute. It's going to give me 2 options. How do I want to distribute them? Do I want to send an email to all my teachers? If you have like a bank of their email addresses, you will get the option to just paste in the recipients, and it'll send the email with the link and a little bit of text saying, hey, we need you to fill out the survey, blah, 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 blah.
Can you bulk paste or is it one at a time?
It's bulk.
Okay.
Now, if you decided, I'm just going to throw it up on the board during a staff meeting, and they're just going to go to our webpage and they're just going to do it, they have a copy the link, and literally you hit the button that says copy link. And then you go someplace and right-click paste.
Okay.
You can right-click paste into a QR code generator if you want to make a QR code. You can right-click paste into Edmodo, School Web, wherever you want to go. If you feel like you want to write your own email and you just want to copy and paste it in there, you can do that too. Okay? Once you've copied and pasted or emailed, your distribution duty is done. They're distributed. And then you're just in tracking mode. You get the email from BrightBytes every day telling you how many you have and how many you need. And you can always go back to this screen to check your status. As great as they are with, oh, you get your data back in like 24 hours, that's so fast, they're not that fast when it comes to tracking your number. So the first day, you're all excited. You got your teachers pumped. They're all going to go do it. And they're calling you, hey, I did your survey. Hey, I did your survey. And you look, and it's still sitting at 0. That's because it only updates nightly. So anything that's done throughout that day, you're not going to see until you get that email in the morning. Okay, just so I think people were like, the survey's not working, because they weren't seeing that bar move. Okay, so you'll just be informed once in the morning. So if I wanted to do the student survey, I would do the same thing. I would click the, let me go back there. I think I'm stuck in a loop. Okay, so if I wanted to do the student survey, if you have, this is because some campuses may have high school and middle school students in the same building. So you're just going to see lower or upper or high school, depending on your campus. And then for students, you're going to do the same thing. Now, they give you several options. Let me tell you, if you pick in class or in a computer lab, they give you like a script to read, to like walk your kids through the process. So if you're not interested in that, just grab the link. Not have to flip through screens to read along with your students kind of thing. Again, I have copies of the survey questions, so if you want a copy to read along with, just email me and I'll get you that. The first questions that your students will be asked is what grade are they in? And then all the responses after that. Just on a side note, so that teachers don't feel like, we don't want this to become an evaluative thing. Like, they're just going to look and see that all the 3rd grade students said, you know, We don't want any of that. At this point in time, we cannot correlate responses by grade level. So all you see is your campus data. You can't pull out a grade level and look at them specifically. So that might hopefully, you know, just help everybody want to be honest and see where you need to improve and whatnot. Okay, so other than, oops, and then I don't know where I went. Oh, I just went all the way back. Okay, so once you're done, you've reached 100% because you're awesome, and you know, you got it together. Or it's the 30th, and we have to go talk to the state on like the 1st. Or that first week, and you're like, okay, survey window's done. After you do close and finish, you're going to see your results in 24 hours, and you are done. So you're sending out a link, you're watching daily to see your results come in, and you're making a plan to try to hit 100. That's it. Questions about how to do this? The window is January 20th through January 30th. Starts on a Tuesday because the Monday is a student holiday.
January 20th through what?
The 30th. And I'm going to show you. Look at your handout that I gave you really quick. There is a URL on there and a password on the pink handout. This is additional resources. The video that we are making right now is going to be in that in that binder. So if you need to refresh your memory, it's there. Other things that are useful. If you click in that binder, and I gave you the password for it, the first thing you're going to see when you open it up is what are our windows. We looked at the academic calendar from elementary to high school and worked really hard to try to stay away from testing, end of marking periods, and all the other million things that's going on someone's campus. So we've tried our best. All the questions that come up the most frequently are on here as well. How to distribute. It works on all devices. And then we have about 7 different ways for you to get extra help. If you want to hear this whole tour from BrightBytes themselves, they have a 15-minute webinar you can schedule. You can hear it right from them. On the first 2 days of the window, so the 20th, all day, Annette and I will be hanging out in ThinkSpot. No, I said beta. And you can just walk in if you feel like, I wanted to distribute these, but I'd rather have one of them around when I do. We'll be here. So if you want to come over and sit down and take 5 minutes and we'll sit next to you while you do it, we'll be here. The second day after learning leaders, we will be in here. So if you feel like you'd just be more comfortable sitting next to us while you hit that distribute button, we'll be around. You can also find our emails. Again, if you're having sign-in issues, I can help with that. Some things I can fix, some things I have to email BrightBytes and have them fix, just depending. I think the 9th grade campuses will probably be the ones that I have to, if we have issues, I'll have to go to them. But every other campus I can pretty much fiddle with your stuff and reset your password and things like that. 2 things, well actually no, I'm not gonna go there. Okay, so then at the top there's a couple more tabs. This is where the new video will go, the how-to. This is the handout that I actually had emailed you, is in here also. Okay, just another resource. If you have more people are asking you really in-depth, annoying questions of why are we doing BrightBytes, and there's just that one person that you know is going to ask you every question they can think of, there is a link that has little videos about every part of BrightBytes. They can watch these till their heart's content, and they will have all their answers. There is some information on data reporting, how to get to those reports that we looked at, but we will have more in-depth training about actually analyzing your data once we get through the whole window of getting it out there and getting it complete. Also under your avatar, we did this last session. We had a problem, so I clicked on support, and you real-time chat with someone. We had somebody on there fixing our passwords and our usernames like immediately. So if you don't want to wait for me to email you back, that whole, you emailed me and I'm out sick or whatever, you can pull up support and say, hey, I need my password reset. Hey, can you, whatever, and in real time they can just chat you through it. So there's support there as well. Well, we really thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to come and get prepared for this. We're really excited. We think it'll be a good thing. And you guys are done.
Thank you.
Thank you.